Hey everybody, Boss Man here. This is chapter 1 of Living in a Wheelchair. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about what I have and how it started. Uh, it started with me being born. It's a birth by birth thing. Uh, it wasn't caused by birth. It's a hereditary or genes or whatever you want to say call it. It's a English British disability. I was born with it. So what happened was I was born with a hole in my back, in my lower back, where my spine was messed up and not fully developed. So they had to stitch up the hole and make sure my spine was where it was supposed to be and everything. And that was when I was first born. They had to do that. So I was in an incubator or whatever you want to call it, one of those big machines when I was first born, and that's how my life started. And then a couple of hours or days. I'm not, and again, I'm not exactly sure on dates, times, length and stuff like that. I'm just gonna give you approximate times or approximate, whatever. So within a couple of days or whatever, they noticed something was wrong, and they found they had to put a shunt in me, which is a tube that goes from my head, the area around your brain, all the way down through my neck to my stomach area to drain some of the fluid around my brain because I had too much. My body was producing it too much of it. So that was when I was a couple of days old, couple of or hours or whatever, and so that was the first surgery, official surgery that I had. It was I don't know how it felt, but all the surgeries since then haven't been too great. So I made a recovery, and I was able to be brought home and everything, and stuff wasn't normal when I was born. And I want to clear it up too. Is I was not born in a wheelchair. I wasn't in a wheelchair when I was first born. I was a normal, well, quote unquote normal kid. For a while, I played sports when I was younger. Not when I was first born, obviously, but I was, when I was like 5 or so. I played sports and everything, and what the disability did was make me unaware of what was going to happen next. I had a shunt, which that made things really hard because I had a piece of my skull missing because they couldn't, put the skull back in because they had to let the tube in that area and stuff. So I couldn't do some sports. I couldn't get on roller coasters. Still, well, I get on roller coasters now, but I'm not really supposed to. But what's life without risk, right? And I've had to give up a lot of stuff uh, because of the shunt. And I have it in till this day. I'm 19 years old. I still have it in. And when I was younger, everything seemed to be okay. My legs, it kind of progressively got worse. It was one of those things of, oh, I'm fine. And the disability spina bifida is not common. It's common enough to where people, the doctors know about it, but there's really no 100%, oh, I know why it's caused. I know exactly how to fix it. Everybody with spina bifida is different. Everybody experiences something different, and every surgery is different. Your spine could be disformed or whatever in any part of your spine. I was lucky and I had it in my lower back. If I had it, higher, more things would have gone wrong and more things could have messed up. And so I'm lucky in the fact that it was in my lower back instead of higher up. And some people have it higher up, so I'm lucky. And so for a couple of years, I was fine. Everything was good. Everything went, smooth, and I was growing up fine. And I had some issues with organs, messing up and stuff, which was they knew was gonna happen. So I'm still dealing with that stuff, and I'm not gonna go into detail with those things, but that's a constant issue. Um, what else? And so when things started getting messed up, I'd say about 11 years old. So that's a big jump, or whatever. Was when I was 11, I started to feel, no, earlier than that, around maybe eight or nine or so. My walking started screwing up and stuff, and my legs were getting weaker and weaker, and it didn't feel right. Doctors told me, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine. Just keep going to physical therapy, work your legs out, make sure you stretch every day." My muscles weren't the same. They kept telling me my body was not the same as everybody else's, and I had to do more exercises, more stuff like that, which I was. I was working out. I was doing sports and stuff. I was never really too big into sports, but I did them. I never really went on a team, but I did most sports, like with my friends and stuff. Went to the park, and throughout this whole thing, this whole ordeal, I moved around a lot. Never saw the same doctor, too many times, because I was always in a different state or different country. I lived in England for 3 years, and now I'm in America. Well, I lived in England. I was born in Rochester, New York. Went to England for 3 years, came back, and went all over the United States. Um, so I never really saw the same doctors too many times. And knowing that, and at that time I kind of knew that it was leading towards a wheelchair, but I didn't think about it too much because I was young. And then, doctors are telling me, well, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. So I went to not crutches. I went to a cane. So I started using a cane part time. Long walks, going class to class in school. I used a cane for a while. Then the cane wasn't working for me. So then they started to say, well, maybe a walker. A walker might help. So went into a walker for a couple of months, maybe a year, and it got way worse in there. Within a year, I was in a wheelchair. So my walking got real worse. And then and it was part-time. It was like I could walk from my chair to the bed to the bathroom, whatever. So um it was like, oh, this sucks, but I can still walk a little bit. And I was like, I'm determined. I'm gonna get back out of this. I'm gonna get out of this. And then a doctor approached me, and said, well, we can do a surgery to help you. And the surgery was they were gonna cut and lengthen my hamstrings, which is the muscle behind your legs. And I was leery about it. I didn't really want it, kind of. So I said, I'll think about it. And up from that point, they found a couple things wrong. I had to have a tethered spine detethering, which my nerves in my spine were messed up, and they had to cut my nerves in my spine and make sure they're not tethered, untether them, and that was the worst surgery of my life. I never want to go through that pain again. I was asleep for it, but what they had to do, they had to drain all the fluid around my brain, all the fluid around my spine, and have my body rebuild that fluid. That was 2 weeks of complete hell. I mean, I would move my finger and I would get a migraine. That's how bad it was. I didn't sleep for almost 2 weeks. It was horrible. And that was on meds. I was on, the strongest meds they could give me, around the clock. And I was still not up for it. I was still horrible. So that is my number one worst surgery, a untethering of the spine, which is completely horrible. So they had to go in there, did that, left me a big good scar on my back. And throughout this day, throughout between being born and age 8, 9-ish, they had to lengthen my shunt, which that was okay. That wasn't bad at all. They had to cut into my stomach and put an extension or whatever on my shunt. So, it was okay. That one wasn't too bad. And I went into depression for a while after finding out, I'm getting worse. And I mean, this is on top of my life, life in general, moving around a lot, having a single mother, and dealing with, messed up siblings. And I'm going to wrap it up here because it's going on a little bit too long. So this is chapter 1 of many chapters on living in a wheelchair. I hope you liked it. Comment, rate, subscribe, and like, and share. Alright, there's a lot more to coming out. Chapter 2 will be I'll tell you more about the surgery that they did with my hamstrings and what went wrong. Okay. Have a good day.